Planar Chaos was a fascinating take on Magic the Gathering, representing an alternate reality where all of the colors of Magic had different rules. This set turned everything upside down, and today we're going to travel back in time and see what things were like in the time of Planar Chaos.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The Magic Historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well. Put on your time-traveling boots and raincoat, because we're going back to the days of Planar Chaos. This is a fairly older Magic set that was released in the mid-2000s. Now, this is actually the time frame when Teferi lost his Planeswalker Spark amongst other Planeswalkers as well. If you've been watching the lore videos over on Fantasy Geographic, where we had been following the time experiments that were done with Karn and Urza, well, this is actually the result of all that, where the world has been torn asunder and time has fractured so much that we're dealing with a multi-dimensional situation where some characters are actually coming back in completely different variations. So let's dive into the pack so I can give you a better idea of what things were like back in the... Good Lord, what is this buttered up? I can't even get it open. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So we have, first of all, a Shaper Parasite. So this is 2 blue and 1 for a 2/3 morph creature. And how morph works is you can play this creature face down as a 2/2 for 3, turn it face up at any time for its morph cost. So in this case, it'd be 1 blue and 2. So you'd end up paying a total of 6 mana to morph and then unmorph this guy. When Shaper Parasite is turned face up, target creature gets +2/-2 or -2/+2 until end of turn. Now, you can see right away how much this diverges from normal Magic the Gathering in terms of blue never really gets anything with minus toughness modifiers. It may have enchantments and things like this now, which will make a creature into a 1/1 or a 0/1, and there's plenty of cards that give -2. But in terms of actually being able to destroy creatures outright, blue doesn't normally possess that ability, and the Shaper Parasite clearly has the capability to be used as removal. And look at the artwork. Not only does the ability have a black vibe, but the artwork also has a black vibe, and it's very interesting to note that this is an illusion that does not look illusionary in the slightest. So, this Planar Chaos set was quite a wild trip. After that, we've got Utopia Vow. This is 1 green and 1 for an enchant creature that says enchanted creature can't attack or block. Enchanted creature has tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. The flavor text says, I'll guard this fruit and its seedling until the land is healed. My life belongs to Dominaria. So this, if you don't know, is literally a Utopia tree in the background. What I'll do is I'll put the Utopia tree up on the screen as well, so you can see that it's literally the tree and the fruit from the tree that's being held here in the hands of this druid. I love the fact that this can be played on any creature. You can pick one of your opponent's creatures and go, the fate of Dominaria is now in your hands. The artwork has both a desolate and also hopeful vibe to it. Planar Chaos is really cool because look at this ability. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. This is clearly a white enchantment, right? You can see just how much the color shifting affects this set in terms of ability shifting. But there are even cards that are literally just reprints in a different color as well. This isn't one of them, but I just love this set for the random variety that you get. So this set did include slivers. Here's one right here, Spitting Sliver, 1 black and 4 for a 3/3. All slivers have first strike. So again, we see a massive divergence from the normal color pie. First strike is not a super common ability in black, right? Especially, this was about 15 years ago the set was made. So bear in mind that over time, some of the color pie has changed, but at the time this came out, it was definitely a scenario where first strike was not a heavy black ability. The flavor text says, our lance's reach had been saving grace in our fight against the hive. Now even that advantage is taken from us. And that is Adam Capuchin, a Benelish knight. And you can see this sliver, it's spitting twin gouts of acid. That's pretty intense. That is a unique way to illustrate First Strike, where it's like, I get to hit first because I can literally fire acid across the battlefield at you. Very, very intense and pretty beefy for a sliver too at 3/3. Then we've got Avon Rift Watcher. So this is 1 white and 2 for a 2/3 flyer with Vanishing 3. Now Vanishing 3, or I should say Vanishing itself, was an ability that originally was created in this set. So this is the first set where we got Vanishing. Vanishing was created to replace Fading, Fading being an incredibly similar ability, whereas the difference is with Vanishing, you destroy the creature when the last Vanishing counter is taken off of it. With Fading, you destroy the creature the turn after the last counter is taken off of it. So it's not really that big of an ability. It's not great overall, but it is a way to try and kind of balance power. This card isn't terribly powerful. 1 white and 2 for a 2/3 flyer with Vanishing 3. And when it comes into play or leaves play, you gain 2 life. So it sticks around for a couple turns and then departs, giving you a total of 4 life overall. And you can see in the artwork, you've got an Avon who is watching a rift. I never really liked the artwork that much, although this always felt like a big shadowy Venus flytrap. It's like, fly away, Rift Watcher. Is that why he vanished? Did he get eaten by a Venus flytrap? Moving on, we've got Sting Scourger. 1 red and 1 for a 2/2 Goblin Warrior with Echo cost of 4. And how Echo works is, at the beginning of your upkeep, if this card came under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it unless you pay its Echo cost. So this is really... Echo is a terrible ability. This is the first set where the Echo cost didn't match the casting cost. Up until this point in Magic's history, the casting cost and Echo cost were always identical. When Sting Scourger comes into play, return target creature to an opponent controls to its owner's hand for 1 red and 1. So you can see that this is a blue-esque style ability where you can end up bouncing your opponent's creatures. I guess the idea is you can get them out nice and cheap if you want to bounce a creature, but then the Echo cost stops it from being too good. This is an underwhelming card, but it certainly is interesting to see a bounce effect in red instead of blue. Then we've got Evolution Charm. Evolution Charm is 1 green and 1. Instant, choose 1. Search your library for a basic land card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Or return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Or target creature gains flying until end of turn. And that's cool, because green doesn't normally have many abilities that grant flying, but when they shifted things around, green got to meddle around with flying a lot more frequently in this set, which as a big green player, I am a fan of. And this is part of a cycle. There's one of these charms for every color. And I like the artwork too. The charm looks pretty nice overall, not too shabby. Moving on, we've got Shade of Trocaire. 1 white and 3 for a 1/2 Shade. Pay 1 white, Shade of Trocaire gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And it's got Suspend, pay 1, suspend it for 3. And how Suspend works is, rather than casting the cost normally, rather than playing the spell, you pay 1 mana and you exile this from the game, right? And then you put 3 counters on it because it has Suspend 3. Each upkeep, you remove a counter from it. When the last counter comes off, then you get to cast this spell without paying its mana cost, and if it's a creature, like it is in this case, it has haste. So normally, this Shade style concept of pump ability is predominantly the domain of black, but it's been shifted into white for this one, and I like the artwork. It really does look like one of the white denizens at this time in Dominaria. They had to wear all this garb because there were they basically lived on salt plains, and the wind would pick up salt and whip it against their skin. So they would wear these kind of rag-like garments to protect themselves. And you can see the energy that's emanating out from inside of them, giving that ethereal shade vibe to it. Man, Planar Chaos is so cool. And then we've got Fury Charm. Like I said, it's a cycle. 1 red and 1. This one is choose 1, destroy target artifact, or target creature gets +1/+1 and trample till end of turn, or remove 2 time counters from target permanent or suspended card. So this honestly doesn't feel different than red right now overall. You know what I mean? Destroying artifacts, pumping a creature and giving it trample. Those two feel decidedly red, and hastening up a spell, like the removing the time counters, that also works. So this one doesn't really feel like it's diverging from its normal color. And the artwork just, I like the other charm we saw a little bit more. It seemed better, more ornate. This one's a little kind of underwhelming overall, but the hands look so good. How do you paint hands so well, man? I'm impressed by Magic artists. Anyways, let's move on to the next card. Here we go. This is a Merfolk Thaumaturgist. So this is 1 blue and 2 for a 1/2 Merfolk Wizard. Tap it, switch target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. The flavor text says, "Blasted fishtails, it's not enough that they meddle with my head, but now my body as well. Now they twist my body as well." And that's Tahngarth of the Weatherlight. And if you didn't know, Tahngarth is a very vain minotaur. So messing with his body is something he's definitely going to get upset about. But what's really funny is that he's a 4/4. So this ability would actually leave him the same. Now, you may be wondering when you look at it, why does he have white text? What's going on here? Well, this is literally a color shift of the Dwarven Thaumaturgist. So I'll put him up on the screen, and you'll see, I believe if I'm not mistaken, that he is from Exodus originally. So, or maybe it was Weatherlight. Either one of those two. So it's an old school card, and they're literally identical. It's just, this has been shifted into blue. And you can see this merfolk here, he's just kind of got all these little creatures and stuff trapped in balls of water. I'm not sure exactly how his ability is supposed to work based on his artwork, but the artwork is very interesting at the least. You're like, what is this dude even doing? Meddling around with people's bodies. Moving on. Oh, we got another color shifted card. This one is Sunlance, so it's 1 white, and it is a sorcerer that says Sunlance deals 3 damage to target non-white creature. It's easy for the innocent to speak of justice. They seldom feel its terrible power. And that's from Aurum Samite Inquisitor. Now that's interesting because Aurum is actually a Samite healer in the regular timeline. So this is one who's actually instead is aligned with doing damage and being part of an Inquisition, which is pretty intense. And this is a color shifted, if I'm not mistaken, the name of the card is Strafe, and I believe it was originally from the Invasion block. It might actually be from Plane Shift. So we got a Planar Chaos card that we're talking about a shift from Plane Shift, which is an extra level there. I do like that. So that's cool. We're getting multiple of these. I'm glad because it makes for a great example of how things were. And you can see the Sunlance. You've got some kind of demonic being that is being pierced by a ray of light. Literally a lance made out of pure sunlight. Very cool. Oh man, we're just hitting a whole sequence of these. This is super convenient. So now we have Mana Tithe. This is 1 white for an instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1 mana. So as you can see, like we're diverging from what the colors can normally do as well. White doesn't normally just do damage to creatures unless they're attackers or blockers, and mono white doesn't really have counter spells normally. So 1 white, counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. Those who seek to upset the balance must be taxed for such ambitions. And that's Verhain, the Mesa High Priest. See, now that makes sense. That feels very much like a white way of looking at things. Because white is a very much a rule-setting, play by the rules that I have set, or you will pay the price style color. And this is a color-shifted version of Force Spike, which was originally from Legends. I do like the artwork with the balancing scales here as well. This is a fine card overall. Very nice to see these. And this is a great pack for this style of video. Then we've got Frenetic Sliver. 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 for a 2/2 sliver. All slivers have 0. If this creature is in play, flip a coin. If you win the flip, remove this creature from the game and return it to play under its owner's control at end of turn. If you lose the flip, sacrifice it. So, wait, couldn't you just use this to do infinite coin flips? Because there's no restriction on how many times you could use the ability, right? Oh no, it's if this creature is in play. Never mind. They cover that with the first sentence. So it has to be in play for the coin flip to resolve. So you could put 1,000,000 triggers on the stack, but as soon as the sliver ended up basically being sacrificed, then you'd be out of luck, right? So that's what keeps it in control. So you can see that's an interesting concept for a sliver. We got a blue-red one. It's very weird, but the red part of flipping a coin makes perfect sense, and the being removed from play and coming back to protect itself, that's the blue side. So this actually feels like a normal blue-red card, and I like the way the sliver looks, where he represents both the colors starting out as this blue cold body and turning into the red warmer side, or maybe this is like it's shifting. Maybe when it's in reality, it's one of these colors, and when it's shifted away, it's the other color. Like its body changes color as it shifts. I like that a lot. Then we've got Stonecloaker. 1 white and 2 for a 3/2 flash flyer. When it comes into play, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. There was a number of these cards that had flash in this set that when they came into play would bounce a creature. And the other thing that it does is when Stonecloaker comes into play, remove target card in a graveyard from the game. Now, I really like the concept of this because this is like a protective gargoyle. He shows up out of nowhere, grabs a hold of this guy, wraps his wings around them in like a shield, and then launches himself off into the sky. That's how I view it. The creature going away is literally the gargoyle pulling him off to safety. So that works conceptually as a card for me. And I mean, it's all right. It works as pinpoint graveyard removal, plus the ability to save one of your own creatures. So ultimately not too shabby, and it does feel like a white card. And then we've got another color shifted card. Our rare is a color shifted Sarah Sphinx. Oh, how the times have changed. 2 blue and 3 for a 4/4 flyer with vigilance. The flavor text says, Sphinxes drink from the mystic mirrors of Sarah's realm, where their keen eyes watch reflections of what is and what is yet to come. So this is an alternate version of our timeline, where these Sphinxes actually reside in Sarah's realm, and they drink mystic waters and stare into the future. That's amazing. And, as I said, it is a color-shifted card, and if you haven't guessed already, this is Sarah Angel, done as a blue rare. Admittedly, an underwhelming rare, but from a flavor standpoint, very cool, and the artwork looks awesome. I love this Sphinx by the waterside with the natural surroundings. It looks so very enjoyable. Look at that. That's great. And what's the last thing? Oh, we got a double rare pack. Look at that. Oh, I'm not going to complain about that. All right, Fungal Behemoth. I don't remember what he does. 1 green and 3 for a star. Fungal Behemoth's power and toughness are each equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on creatures you control. He's got Suspend X, so you pay 2 green and X. X can't be 0. Whenever a time counter is removed from Fungal Behemoth while it's removed from the game, you may put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Yikes. This is not a good card, man. This is way too slow. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's say you tried to cast this quickly. 2 green and 2 as X. Then you've got to wait 2 turns for it to come out. You're going to get to put 2 +1/+1 counters out on your creatures. And when he shows up, if you don't have anything else that has counters on it, this guy is a 2/2 that you paid 4 mana for and waited 2 turns to get. I don't really see a situation where his math actually starts to get good. Like, maybe if you just want to play him, like, I have 30 mana and I'm going to suspend him for 28. So for the next 28 turns, I get a +1/+1 counter. But it just feels like there would always be better things to do with the mana. Now, I do like that this card is actually showing how Suspend is, evoked in the artwork, because you can see this Fungal Behemoth is literally coming through the time rift. That's what this blue energy is here. He is coming from an older time into our current time, or from the future possibly, because there was all kinds of time rifts that were torn open and had widened over the years. Like I said at the beginning of the video, we have covered this, like the creation of these time rifts, Urza's experiments and everything like that, over on Fantasy Geographic. So if you want to know more about what actually led to temporal destabilization across the multiverse, then you're probably going to want to go over and check out the Time Stream Chronicles playlist. Check out all of them videos over there. I will leave a link at the end of this video for you to check it out if that is your desire. So ultimately, I have to say, I really enjoy these trips backward through time, taking one booster pack and going through it, seeing what's available and getting the vibe of the set is really enjoyable to me. I want to thank everybody who went out of their way to send me an old school booster. I have a number of more, and I'd like to make this a continuing historic series. So let me know if this is something that you would like to see more of, my friends. Big shout out to all my patrons. If you like what I'm doing here, consider supporting me on Patreon, and I will see you all, my friends, next time. In the meantime, feel free to get yourself one of these playmats. Description has the link for you. Goodbye for now.